Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name's William and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we're going to be doing a short flight in the Carenado Mooney M20R. We'll be flying from Baker City to Joseph State, a beautiful flight across Oregon. Looks like really good weather in the area as well, and just a short hop either way. Kind of using the Mooney's performance to hop over mountains on the way there, so it should be a fun flight. I hope you all do enjoy. If you do, consider giving the video a like and subscribing to see more content as always. Thank you all so much. Let's get into it. Alrighty everyone, we're on the ramp here taking a look at our beautiful Mooney here from Carenado. It is really a great looking airplane, and not sure if there's something going on with the weather or if it's just that perfect of a day here in Oregon. It did look like it was nice weather out regardless, so we'll be taking this thing for a spin, just taking a short hop over the mountains from Baker City to Joseph State. As the crow flies, it's less than 40 miles. We might have to kind of make that a little bit longer since the mountain ridge is really close to Joseph State, and we don't want to just kind of plummet in on top of the airport. Either way, getting into the airplane, I'm going to go through getting it set up, started up, and ready to go out of here, and we'll be ready to taxi and depart in just a moment. Alright, we got the aircraft started up. We're pretty much ready to go here. We should just need to start up our FSEconomy client, taxi to the runway, and get going. So we'll go ahead and get on with that. We can see the client. We've got this alias to the M20 Bravo, even though we're flying the Romeo. It is on the ground at Baker City Municipal, so we'll just go to Flight Actions and Start Flight. We should have our 3 passengers, and they are loaded up. So we are on the clock now. Time is money, all that good stuff. So we're going to just taxi on out to 26, which will be straight ahead all the way over here to the right, and then we'll have to back taxi a little bit to use it full length. Before we do, let's go ahead and get our flaps down into the takeoff position and just double check the rest of it. We got our pitot heat on, all that looks good. Our flight director set up right now for just heading, and we have 1200 feet per minute set in the vertical speed. Heading on 260 should be runway heading, and our GPS is all set up as well. Rotating beacon is on. Let's go ahead and get our taxi lights on. This guy knows to get out of the way, and we are tracking on GPS instead of just nav there. That's why GPS is selected. So get a little bit of power in here. We have about a gallon more in our left tank than our right, just because of the amount of fuel that was in the aircraft, so we just need to probably switch it over to the right once we're up at cruise, and we shouldn't have to touch it again since we're just going, like I said, it's less than 40 miles. 39.2 is what it's showing at the moment, but ultimately we'll be probably going just a little bit further than that, since we're going to have to kind of go out of our way a little bit. So we're holding short here of tree 1. We should proceed directly across on this, and then on out all the way down there to the end of runway 26. So we'll just cross 31 onto 26 for the back taxi. We do have our taxi lights on. Let's go ahead and get our landing light on, do taxi lights off at this point, and we'll get our strobe on as well. And we'll go transponder on to altitude mode there. Alright, it looks like it's clear off both sides, and just make sure there's nothing going on 26. It looks like we're safe. Let's go ahead and take the runway, or cross this runway, right on to 26. Which should just be on over here, and then slight jink to the right. It's a little bit weird. This airport has 3 runways that all kind of just are clobbered on top of each other. But we'll be using 26 today. Just it's what the wind favors a little bit. That's what it looks like. Not that it's too strong either way. Alrighty, so like I said, we're going to have to climb up over some mountains. So we do have 11,500 set up in the altitude selector. Mountain peaks in the area are about 9,800 feet, so we at least need to be above that, but I'd have to try and find a way to get down into the field a little bit more efficiently. This is such a pretty area. A great plane as well. Hopefully we do not get attacked by the stutters, but we will see. Alright, we're just going to make our way off to the right side here, and we'll swing the plane around, line ourselves up. Alright, we are lined up. We're going to look to rotate out today at 70 knots. And climb, we'll get the gear up pretty much immediately, flaps up through 85, accelerating with a positive rate, and then we're going to try and climb out and keep it up around 100 knots. So let's go ahead and throw the power in. Runway's a little bit short, so we're going to hold the brakes here for a second. Alright, release the brakes. Our airspeed is alive, rolling, just keeping a little bit of right rudder on it. There's 50 knots, 60, and there's 70. We'll go ahead and rotate. We have a positive rate, so the gear's coming up. Step on the toe brakes just for a second. And there's 80. Call it 85 with a positive rate and accelerating. So we'll get the flaps up as well. Just going to continue to hand fly out and just hold this 260 heading we got in our heading bug before we make our right turn out. Very, very pretty area. We're still accelerating up to about 95 knots now. We got a really good vertical speed. We can actually back that off a little bit. Hold more around 1,000 feet per minute. See if we can continue accelerating up through 100 knots. And let's go ahead and start our right turn. You guys can see the mountains we're going to be talking about that we're working our way over here in just a moment. Be coming into view. So direct to showing a heading of about 020. We're going to go ahead and bring it on to 030, roll out here. I'm going to come down and arm the nav mode now in the autopilot. We kind of drifted a little bit right of that heading, but we'll just continue holding it. Let's get some positive trim in. Just keep holding right around that 1,000 feet a minute, somewhere around there. Not too worried about being able to make it over the mountains on the way there. It's just that we're going to have to dip in. If we don't take a different path of some kind. This plane is a ton of fun to hand fly. And yeah, those are the mountains that we're going to have to clear, and the airfield is right on the other side of them. It's butting up right against those mountains. Alright, now that we're kind of clearing the Baker City area, we'll go ahead and get those landing lights off. Turn some of this excess airspeed into a bit more of an aggressive climb. And once we look like we're a little bit closer to on course, we'll just go ahead and let the autopilot take over. But for the moment, just continuing to hand fly. You're getting a better view of those mountains now out over the nose. We could fly off to the right of them and kind of jink our way in, but we have the performance to be able to just clear them over the top, so we're going to go for that and do the shorter route. Let's go ahead and activate the autopilot now. So it's taken over. We have 1,200 feet set in there, but we're just armed. Oh, 1,300 now, because this button is incredibly hard to click. And 11,500 set as our altitude, which it should go ahead and capture. As we're climbing up, we're going to go ahead and pull the mixture back just a little bit. We're going to have to stay on top of that as well as we continue to climb. Almost at 8,000 now. Joseph State sits at about 4,100 feet. And it'll be runway 15 tree. Winds look like they're calm there as well. I think we're going to set up for runway tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this needle on about tree 0. So I've got a nice reference here of 150 tree 0. So I can kind of help visualize it in my mind a little bit better of where the runway should be pointing, and hopefully that'll help spot the runway for us a little bit easier as we work our way in, but just really taking in the sights for the moment. We backed off the climb just a little bit to about 800 feet per minute now that we're getting up basically almost 11,000 feet. We've just got 27 nautical miles to go, and we'll be capturing our cruise altitude here pretty darn shortly. We're going to switch over to the right tank at that time. Since we've already burned about 3 gallons off of the left, and we're going to burn maybe one more. We can just comfortably switch it over to the right and keep the fuel balance close enough. It's a really short flight, so not something we're terribly worried about managing. But we will be coming up to these mountains pretty darn quick. I'm going to try and get it sorted. That way we can try and find a route down through the mountains. At least maybe a path where we could start our descent a little bit early and work our way in. See, we're capturing now 11,500. So I'm going to pull the mixture back just a little bit more. And then in a moment, we're going to pull the power back, just so you can see kind of what we're looking at. We're clearing over the top of these mountains. Like I said, I think the highest peak is about 9,800 feet, so we've got a decent cushion, but yeah, it's a bit snug, that's for sure. We're up to about 160 knots across the ground, so we're going to go ahead and pull this power on back. And now we're going to lean it just a touch more. That's too much. Right around there. All the temperatures generally look pretty good except for the cylinder head temperature in this plane. Not sure what I could do to really manage that a little bit better, but I'll find out at some point, I'm sure. We switched over to the right tank now, so we're starting to burn off of it. We're showing just, let's see, about 175 knots now across the ground, 7.5 minutes, 22 nautical miles. I think what we might want to do is work down to the right over here. That looks like a valley, and maybe we could start our descent in, and then also set ourselves up a little bit for tree into Joseph State. So let's see, that looks like that might be, let's do this off of a heading mode. About 050 or so. Let's start with that and see what that looks like. So we'll switch over to heading. It's probably a little too much, but I'd rather kind of enter it so we can see what we're working with. Yeah, this will work nicely. So let's fly this heading and head off towards, I'm hoping this is a nice valley on the other side of it. I don't really have much to go off of here on the GPS, but I know it starts to slope down the further kind of off to the east side of this you get. I mean, yeah, this is pretty great scenery. One of the reasons I enjoy flying over it is just because I really do enjoy the mountains in Microsoft Flight Sim. And if we have to make a really rapid descent down or something, it's not that big of a deal. We do have air brakes in this thing, and they do a pretty good job of cutting down your speed in a hurry. So we might rely on those a little bit. Curious if I increase the mixture, if we can get it should have an effect on the cylinder head temperature. Let's keep it at the bottom of this range. Let's see if that goes down any faster. Not too worried about it either way. It's just, it's one of those things that would definitely be nice to be able to kind of care about, and it be somewhat accurate. I think this is going to work pretty nice. If we see here now, be able to get over this ridgeline, and it looks like that's a decent valley we could start our descent in. But we're captured at 11,500 at the moment. Sim has been running very smoothly as well, so hopefully that means we can get some more of our kind of exploring flights in. Maybe be able to fly the Mooney a little bit more as well, and start going through Papua New Guinea a little bit. Again, that was just such a terrible experience. If you watch those videos, the landings, it almost always happen with the stutters. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and set the altitude on down. We're going to go for 5,500, and we're going to arm it. We're going to pull this power on back. Let's go for 1,000 feet a minute. I think once we get into this valley, we're just going to hand fly anyways. I just kind of want to make sure and enjoy my last little chance to kind of look around. Nice view of the trees and everything as we're going to work our way through here. Let's go ahead and get our landing lights on. Also, we can put our gear down 140 knots, which is really fast. It's all the way up here. And we'll start feeding our flaps in around 110. I'm going to be looking for about 75 on the approach, and we'll see how it kind of lines out. Alright, so that was the autopilot clicking off. We're going to go ahead and get the air brakes out. You can see those cool little things just pop right out. We're going to drop into this valley. It's pretty narrow, but we should be okay. We're through 10,000 feet now. And before we forget anything, we're going to go ahead and take the mixture, and we're just going to go all the way back up. See, those speed brakes really do a great job. We're doing more than 2,000 feet a minute, basically, in the descent. And it cut our speed down really drastically. We can actually pull them back in now and just kind of take over and not worry about it too much. Look at this beautiful lake right in front of us. We're working through the valley. As opposed to just coming over the top, this is definitely going to make it a little bit easier for us to kind of stay on top of our airspeed. Safety-wise, with the wind and everything like this through a valley, might not be the greatest idea in the world, but if anything did happen, we have a nice lake that we could ditch in. Not ideal, but neither is the top of a mountain, so... I guess the other thought would be if you stayed up high, you could probably glide it in and circle down into Joseph State. So, just interesting things to think about. You can definitely get away with more stuff, more uncomfortable stuff than you probably would in real life in the sim, obviously. And right over the top of this lake. Showing about 5 miles from the field, so we're going to see if we can see it. Looks like it's actually right there. Perfect. And go ahead and pull the power back. We're almost below 140. So we'll go ahead and put the gear down. We're going to go for a straight in here into 3.3. See how much the speed brakes can help us. Look at the side of these mountains with all the trees and everything. Absolutely gorgeous. And right over the top of this lake as well. Alright, we're going to pitch to bleed off some of this airspeed, get down below 110. So we can get our first notch of flaps out. There's 110. Flaps are coming out. Let's go ahead and go second notch of flaps. We'll save the last bit till the end here. Looks like we're going to have to exit to the left and taxi back. And we'll go full flaps now. Get on top of the airspeed. Let's throw those speed brakes out one more time. This thing does not want to lose airspeed. It definitely wants to go fast. Like to carry a little bit of airspeed all the way to the threshold and kind of burn the last bit of it in the flare. I find whenever I don't really do that, I get harder landings. So let's see if we can kind of pull it off this time. We're lined up. Short final for Tree. at Joseph State. Alright, pull the power out and go for that flare. It's just hard to get the nose wheel to come down a little bit soft, but a decent landing there. Bad for not having flown this thing for quite a while, and stutter-free approach as well, I think. At least I didn't really see anything on my end. We'll clear to the left here. Looks like Alpha all the way to the ramp. Let's go ahead and slow this thing on down. Ooh, whippy on the nose wheel there. We'll clear and clean the aircraft up, take care of the lights, all that good stuff here in just a moment. Alright, so flaps in, transponder to standby, not test. Taxi lights on, landing lights off, strobe lights off. Alright everybody, welcome to Joseph State. Just look at those mountains, just right there. And one of the nicest things about the Mooney here, you get treated to that sound. I'm not gonna lie, that sound reminds me almost exactly of a nice hot day in Oklahoma in a 172 with your arm hanging out the window because you know you're gonna get real nice and hot with your instructor next to you for a nice 1 hour flight or so. Beautiful backdrop in this area, so we're just going to taxi on down, park the plane, and yeah, log the flight in FSEconomy, get it all done. I know it's a short flight, there wasn't really much going on this time, but I hope you guys did enjoy. It's always nice having you along for the flight, enjoying them with me as well. I love doing these short little flights, flying planes like this Mooney. I know, you know, a lot of people are into the airliners and stuff like that. It's good fun, but small airplanes, small airports. Hopefully, get into some more kind of IFR stuff. I really need to brush up my skills on it, so probably fail in some videos doing that kind of stuff, but it's what the Sim's for, and it's a ton of fun doing it. Glad to be able to share it with you all. So if you do enjoy content like this, consider giving the channel a subscribe. I know I post other stuff as well, but yeah, I definitely love Flight Simulator, so I'm not going anywhere on that. We'll just continue to parking, and then we will get the flight all logged in FSEconomy and call it quits for the day. Looks like a pretty cool little ramp area up here. I would not mind this view walking to my airplane at all. I don't know about you guys, but jeez. It sure as hell beats Oklahoma, I can tell you. Well, Oklahoma's got some really cool weather and absolutely beautiful sunsets, but God, I love the mountains. I miss them quite a lot. Enough of that. We're going to go ahead and park up here. We will call that good enough. So what we're going to do is get the client up, and we're going to come down here and pull the parking brake. That will complete the flight for us, so it is logged. Those 3 passengers hopefully enjoyed the flight as well, paid us their good money, and we reimbursed whoever the owner of this airplane is. Hopefully, if they watch this video, they're not upset with the way I flew it or anything like that. So, yeah, in all seriousness, I hope you guys did enjoy the flight. As always, great having you along with me, and until next time, bye-bye.